Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. This week we are making Æbleskiver, which is perfect if you are tired of making simple and easy flat pancakes. These are basically round, fluffy Danish pancakes that we tend to eat nearer Christmas. Now to make these, you will need a special kind of pan, and of course it's called an Æbleskiver pan. And they are normally made out of solid cast iron with around 7 to 9 little indents to place your batter in. Now to make the batter, you want to start by separating the whites and the yolks from 2 eggs into 2 clean, dry, separate bowls. And the ones that are having the whites in it, you want to make sure are especially clean and dry, as anything in that bowl can affect how the whites whip up. Once separated, add a tablespoon of sugar to the whites and whisk until they form fluffy, stiff peaks and set to one side. Now in the bowl with the 2 yolks, you want to add 250 grams of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a tablespoon of vanilla or vanilla sugar, 60 grams of butter, and 400 ml of buttermilk. Now, if you don't know too much about buttermilk, it is basically a cultured milk. You can kind of think of it as a chunky style milk.
I choose chunky style milk because it has the wholesome chunks growing kids need, unlike smooth style milk.
Actually, no, don't. But basically, it is slightly acidic and it will react to the baking powder to provide a light and fluffy batter. And then give that all a good mix until it is a nice uniform batter. And then place the whipped egg whites in the bowl and gently fold them in. We want to maintain as much of the air in the whites as possible, so just run a spatula around the outside of the bowl and then cut through the middle of the batter and repeat until fully incorporated. You don't want to overmix this and risk knocking all of the air out. Once the batter is ready, preheat your pan, making sure to use a suitable sized hob. Now once the pan is hot, you want to brush each little cup with either a little melted butter or some oil just to help the batter not stick. And then fill each cup to just under the full, as the batter is going to expand anyway, and if you overfill it's going to risk spreading out to the top of the pan. Now once you see bubbles around the outside of your Æbleskivers on the edges, you want to turn them. Now you can do this with a chopstick, a bamboo skewer, a fork, just something that will allow you to rotate them. Now you just want to turn them around 90 degrees, so half of the cooked shell is sticking up and the rest is still on the bottom, and this way it's going to let the batter flow into the bottom of the pan. Then for the second turn, you can either go all the way or you can turn it slightly again on its side, so you've still got 1/8 of the ball if you are thinking of it as a sphere. So there'll be 1/8 of it that is still not covered. Now it's always good to have a turn order, unlike me, so you know which ones you've turned first and which ones you've turned last. Now if your Æbleskivers are lighter than you want them to be, you can just turn them in the pan and toast the outside for a bit longer. And then simply transfer to a plate or bowl when cooked. If you do notice a small hole in them, you can either just dip them in the batter and put them back in the pan, or you can just pour a little bit of batter into the hole and then place that back in the pan, and that will fill out the gap nicely. Or if you really don't care, you can just eat them as they are. Now the traditional way to serve them is with a light dusting of powdered sugar and some jam. But you can of course use some honey, some maple syrup, whatever you want. Now if you want, you can try adding some fillings. I added a single block of chocolate to some of mine while it was cooking to let the heat melt the chocolate and made it a nice gooey filling. I also thought it would be a good idea to try and add some of the marshmallows from last week's video. Now it wasn't. It was a really bad idea. If the mallow touches the pan, it's gonna be a pain to clean. Now of course you can fill these after they've cooked. You just want to use a piping bag to pipe some mallow fluff or melted chocolate or any other fillings you wish into the pre-cooked ones like you would for a profiterole. Now these are best eaten heated up, So if they have cooled down slightly, you can just put them in the microwave for a few seconds. But there you have it, another traditionally Danish treat. Now I know the holiday recipes this year have been very Danish heavy. And yeah, well, I'm living in the culture over here, so I thought it was about time I started to share some of that with you guys. Now, as always, if you have enjoyed, let me know with a like and a comment. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe for free weekly cooking content. And if you wish, even say hi in the comments. I respond to as many of the comments as I can. And I hope you all have a great Christmas, and I will see you all again next week for the last video of 2021. Thanks for watching.